This week, La Rosaleda had some real intrigue as Malaga hosted the final of the Kings League, but YouTube circuses leave us feeling peeved. So luckily, we've got some real football chat up our sleeve. So enough of this silly football baloney. Instead, let's talk about more goals from Bidioni, top league goal scorer in history. He owned it, and Malaga keep on winning. They ain't blown it. But now it's time to say, see ya, Melilla. We wouldn't want to be here. Now we move on to play Real Madrid, Castilla, with Malaga after another 3 points on the prowl, hungry like a wolf, barking a hungry howl, as we take on a team managed by Raul, a Real Madrid legend, hero leyenda. So I don't want to condescend you, as you're a great blast from the past. So I shouldn't be crass. But I'm sorry to say that out on the grass, we want Malaga to kick your ass. So let's talk about those prospects on the latest Geary Cast. Good day, everyone. I am Matt Harrison, and you're listening to the Geary Cast on Sport Direct Radio. As always, that one was a hard one. That one, lost my voice in the middle of that one. But as always, I am joined by my tres amigos. This week we have got Luke Chambers is here. How are you, Luke Chambers?
I'm very well, mate. Firstly, excellent rap of the season so far, so muy bien amigo. But yeah, I'm very well, thank you.
Good. Chris Marquez is here too. How are you, Chris?
I'm fine. I've been to Barry-Benza today.
All right, okay. How's Barry-Benza looking?
Great. Had some beers.
There you go. For those that don't know, well, I'm sure everyone knows that listens to this, but
Yeah.
Barry-Benza is the HQ of the Geary Army. So it's the one we all see on the Geary Army Facebook group when someone says, "How do I get a ticket?" And everyone replies at the same time, "Go to Barry-Benza, ask for Spider or Reggie." That seems to be the there's always a lot of questions after that. But shout out to Barry-Benza. And finally, Bell is here. He's not very well. That's not me trying to rap again, by the way. But how are you feeling, Nick?
I feel better now that I've just listened to that wonderful rap, Matt. It's cheered me up no end. And considering we didn't have a rap last week or the week before even, much needed. Thank you very much.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't expect me to be howling on the podcast and say
I really didn't expect the howl, but what else would you rhyme with Raul?
Yeah, it was.
Howl? Maybe that's it.
No, well, it's a bit late now, but it was that was pretty much the first thing I thought of. Was Howl, Raoul. How am I going to put this together? Anyway, that's for my rap podcast. Let's start with what I mentioned at the start then. Before we get into Malaga, it was the Kings League final at La Rosaleda this weekend. Did anyone watch any of it?
No.
Okay.
No. I only watch real football.
Yeah.
I didn't care. Didn't care at all about the Kings League.
No. I will say from obviously I follow on Instagram and Twitter Malaga content people that work for different media and stuff that were obviously there, and it looked like it went off well, and I think Malaga did itself proud, and I saw people that don't other Spanish football content creators having a nice time at La Rosaleda and around Malaga, so I guess we can't.
Do you guys like the Super Bowl?
No, I don't really
and
like
all the show around it.
No.
It's just very American, the Kings League. I'm sorry.
To be honest with you, if you're going to compare this event to the Super Bowl, I think I'd be very happy if La Rosaleda could pull that off. I know what you mean. The razzmatazz.
Well, but the show around it, all the artists singing, fireworks, I don't know what else they did. It's just not my thing. I want to see a football match, 90-minute football, raw, pure.
Well, do you want me to sum up? I can sum up from my notes here how little I care. I've literally written in my notes, congratulations to, and I forgot to go back and fill in who won it, and I don't know. I meant, I will say, I know the only team I know in it is Los Troncos, because that's the team Joaquin played for.
I saw that. Did he score from a corner or something like that? I think I saw on Instagram.
I don't know.
One thing they did do in terms of your social media is they made La Rosaleda look absolutely insane.
Yeah. But I think that's because they had the lights off on lots
of it.
Yeah. So and they had the run of it as well. Don't get me wrong, and I appreciate that we don't own the stadium and they can do whatever they want with it. But just seeing those Kings League shirts in the window of the new club, I kind of agree with Chris. It just felt a bit.
Yeah.
Ugh, do you know what I mean? Like, and if it's for you, fair play. You enjoy what you enjoy. We've all got our own hobbies, but it's just like it's trying too hard for me.
Yeah.
It's like Saudi Pro League football. It tries too hard.
Yes. Well, let's move on then to real football. I was going to say to cheer us up, but the thing we're starting with is not going to cheer us up because I'm starting with injury news because today's seems to have been particularly bad for Malaga, or certainly the last 24 hours or so. I'll mention first the Sangali and Musa are out. Well, we're injured today. We don't really know how long for yet, but the big headline is Juande is going to be out for, well, I don't think we have exact numbers, do we? But I think about 8 weeks at best, maybe.
Minimum of 8 weeks.
Yeah.
But expected is 10 weeks.
Yeah, so that's pretty much,
Next year,
that's till the winter break, basically, isn't it? Nick, thoughts on this? Are we okay to cope without Juande?
It's a loss, and I think me and Luke were, talking this morning about who comes in to replace him. We've got good backup in the centre part bit, but then obviously the backup centre back then also get injured. So we can only really hope that Einar and Nelson Monte, are pieced together. Maybe we need to strap them up if they do get a little bit injured because they're only options at the minute. I don't know of any other centre backs that could go in there, if I'm being perfectly honest.
What you could do, maybe
Gennaro could go back in there if you needed.
Yeah,
things
that
like
was
that.
my idea, but then Gennaro isn't also. He's not having his best season career.
Chris,
I don't know what to call it anymore. But
did we say that is Moreno a centre half?
No, he's midfielder, isn't he?
Is he?
Yeah, could have done.
I think he was number 5 for Spain. That's all in the recent qualifier.
Yeah, well, I think, like you say, it. To be honest, it's expected from Juande. He has these breakdowns every year. It's a big shame for him, to be honest, because I thought again we'll come on to the Melilla game later, but I thought he did quite well coming in for Einar. So it's a shame that he's picked this up now because he was really creating a fair bit of competition between the three of them, which was quite nice to see. And giving all Pacer all the right problems to have. So, but I very much believe that Nelson Monte and Einar can go on build a solid partnership now, and hopefully when he comes back, he can get himself into contention.
Yeah, I think that's, like you said, in regards to a partnership, I've got no issue with Einar and Monte. I'd even argue they've been better together, but just like you said, who does come in if something happens? I was going to say Gennaro as well, but that would be a sort of real backup idea. And like I said as well, Musa, we don't know the extent of the injury. Chris, have you got any word on Sangali and Musa? No.
The only thing that they had to stop earlier with the training session, and I believe Musa was this hamstring.
Oh well,
yeah, so he's done.
Yeah, that's him for a month.
What was it with Sangali?
His calf. Felt his right calf, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not great either. Yeah, if only we did have a pretty good young centre back in Andres Caro, but he's
done.
So we have to find a solution. But we do seem to always find someone in the academy. So we'll see if there's someone to pop up. Speaking of perhaps young players as well, or youngish players. Haitam and Ramon are back in full training. That is good, Nick. Not Nick. I was going to say Luke. Because I spoke to you already.
Yeah, it's great news. I think obviously both players have got huge potential, adds huge quality to the team. And I think, like we said, the team's had a bad day in terms of the injuries, but if these two are ready to go, it's a big boost for us. I think Ramon can actually take us to the next level, maybe the level what we've missed so far this season.
You think?
But Ramon isn't ready yet and won't be brought into another 3-4 weeks.
Do you think Haitam's ready, Chris? Because he was on the bench the last game.
I think Pellicer took him, but he wasn't ready yet.
Okay.
He's still missing some fitness.
Well, that leads us in nicely, I guess, to we're talking about squad players. We do have a sort of busy week coming up in 2 weeks' time with we go away to Antequera and then the week after we're at home to Cordoba. But in the middle of that week, we have a Copa del Rey game. The draw was done this past Tuesday, so yesterday. We're recording on Wednesday. And I know Luke watched the draw and thought we were going to get Marbella because they were getting down to the last few teams, but we have drawn Baracaldo, which is just, well, I was going to say, I've actually walked through Baracaldo and I did the walk in the summer, and it's the last town that before you enter Bilbao, even it's almost like a suburb of Bilbao. So, Nick, any thoughts on this draw? Does it excite you? Do you care? I don't know.
No, I think the Copa del Rey is a difficult one, and I think the question was posed in the Telegram group. So, are you excited, or do we go on a cup run, or do we focus on the league? And I think the overall consensus is if you just go for the league, it doesn't really matter. I think those top teams have kind of got it all boxed off. It's not like the FA Cup where you're backing those League Two conference teams to go on to a bit of a run. So, does it excite me? No, not really. Is it a long trip midweek? Yeah. Luke informed me that there are 44 games unbeaten as well, so it's got absolute smash and grab. The great Malaga losing to some minnows from the Basque Country written all over it. So, to be honest, Matt, no, I'm not excited by it. Could really do without it.
Yeah, I think from what I gather, I was the only one that was actually a bit excited about it because it's my half term. So I was watching this draw thinking, where can I go away in half term? And I was looking, I think the three I pointed out were Europa in Barcelona, Hercules in Alicante, and Compostela in Santiago, my top three. But I enjoyed going to Bilbao in the summer. I am quite happy to go back there for a couple of days in
Their stadium looks great though. Like,
yeah,
we're all lovers of our floodlights amongst here. And when I first saw the stadium, I was like, I like them. They're a bit me then.
Nice pitch, yeah. Nice
I had
brand.
somebody tweet me, so I retweeted the draw, and some random who I've never met in my life. He actually tweeted me, "Great floodlights, though," and that were like 2 minutes after Matt pulled up on the floodlights, and they do look a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it's probably someone I know that likes floodlights like me. I did like their I think it was the sport director. I wrote his name, Joseba Nunez, who did like a nice little speech about how excited he is to have Malaga come in, and he did add at the end, Malaga is attractive. I also want to encourage the Malaga fans to come. It is a nice trip. Let them come and enjoy. I thought that was really nice.
If I was Malaga, I wouldn't go.
It's a long trip, isn't it?
It's a long trip. I just would say no, thank you. You're fine.
Well,
no, you're okay. Next year maybe, but this year I wouldn't go.
Well, as I've said before, I'm working on something which sort of would help if I went to as many games as possible. So with time,
it's like on paper, if Malaga for some reason picked the Copa del Rey as something they wanted to progress in, it's probably the toughest draw they could get. Malaga's got to basically go to the moon and back to play this game. The team's 44 games unbeaten.
Yeah. Weirdly, did you see they're not actually top of the league though?
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I saw that.
And the insane thing is, it's not insane, but the horrible thing is of this whole Copa del Rey thing, it's not that we have a big squad.
That's true.
We have a very limited squad.
Yeah.
I only see problems.
Yeah, fair to say I'm not going for purely football reasons. Well, I don't know if I'm going. I have looked at flights. I'm going to wait to see what exact time and day kickoff is, but it's pretty cheap to get to Bilbao first week in November from Malaga, so I can't see why not. Perhaps I'll mention it here as well, because obviously this is the same week as another game, which I would really like to go to, but it looks like I'm going to struggle to go to. It is our Malaga province derby against Antequera, which is on the Sunday before this Copa del Rey game. It was announced today that there's only going to be 628 tickets available 4 Malaga fans in the away end. 266 are going to go to Peñas, and the rest are going into a lottery. So 362 tickets in a sorteo. I've already applied. I'm not expecting to come out lucky, but you never know. Chris, obviously, you're a season ticket holder like me. Is this the best way to do it, you think? Because I don't know.
I don't think so. I'm not even trying, because let's say I would get a ticket and all my mates wouldn't. Would I have to go alone? I'm not going alone to an away match. I mean, it's no fun in it.
I'm happy to go alone if you do get a ticket. But actually, I'm not really. Now it's come to this. I'm finding I'm not so that I'm more excited for other games in this league.
Yeah.
I know this is derby, and if I get a ticket, I will be happy. But I'm not going to lose sleep over it, as I think some people seem really desperate to get a ticket, which is fine.
Because maybe that's people who can't afford or don't have the time to travel further away.
Absolutely.
I think that's the thing.
Yeah, I've got Ibiza lined up. That's the one I'm looking forward to. Again, with Barra Galdo. I don't know if Nick and Luke, you guys have been to away games in other back at home. Does this seem like a system that works for you? I can't think of any other way to do it, but it still seems a bit mad to me.
No, it's bonkers.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Absolutely. It's like it seems to be everything with the admin side of a football club in Spain. It kind of feels like, let's just make it up as we go along. Whereas if you go to, especially here in the UK, they've got systems, you've got ways of going. If you can't get a ticket, then you can't get a ticket. Do you know what I mean? How many people went to Linares? What, over 2,000? All went that far. I'm sure they'll all want to go to this game. So already you're up against a lot of people in that group. But now you're going to get the entire season ticket. 19,000 subscribers applying for a lottery for a game that's just up the road. So, like we said the other week, if you went to that Linares game, or if you went to Huelva, and now you didn't get a ticket to Antequera because you were in a lottery, I'd be pretty pissed off.
Yeah.
So it just feels like, I don't know, like.
Sorry, the other thing I forgot to add here as well, which will piss me off, which actually is the point that pisses me off more, I forgot to mention, is, I don't know if you've seen, but if you're successful, you will get a phone call sometime between Monday and Wednesday. Now, I'm a school teacher. If they phone me between Monday or Wednesday, they said something mad like, they're going to phone you once, and if you don't answer the second time, it moves on to the next one. It's like,
never.
That's going to be annoying.
It feels like one of those radio phoning things. When you ring up and you've got to pick up the phone and go, my name's Charlie, or Bezinga does the winner. Do you know what I mean? Like, have you got to say a special code word when you pick up the phone to Malaga? Siempre vamos. What? It just doesn't make any sense to have this bloody system where they should go, well, I'll tell you what, if you've been to all these away games so far, you've got first refusal. That's it. And it could be all 600 tickets gone.
Yeah.
And that'd be fine. And then if some were left over, then the next people get it. And then the next people. It's not hard. It's not as if they're rewriting the wheel. It's just...
Have they not looked after the Peñas than that?
Pardon?
Have they not looked after the Peñas this
time?
Yeah,
like you said, it's 200, but the Peñas are getting 266. Yeah. So if you think how many Peñas there are, that's
true.
Not many. And I don't know if the bigger Peñas get a few more. I've spoken to 3 Peñas I know, and I've not got a number, but they've said it is like really nothing. So again, I don't know how they've allocated that. But
we'll look at like the Fondo Sur or whichever one it is, Chris. That they've got the full block at the south end, and surely they want to go to make a lot of noise. They should probably go home and away all the time.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Mental.
Yeah. We can perhaps talk about this a bit more. Next week when I'm boasting about I got a ticket, like a little Charlie bucket,
just running down Marbella front with your ticket. Go, Matt! Run all the way home! Don't stop! And then you see Chris Marquez turn a corner like slugs with.
Grandpa.
You're there, Matt. Go
And then getting home and see his 4 grandparents in a bed.
Yeah,
And say, "Oh,
no, I'll go home to Pam and Ken in the tavern and be like, I go.
who are sitting in bed," and Ken will say, "Oh man, I will come with you. I didn't stand up for the past 45 years, but
Well,
I will come."
Because Ken's not been to any Malaga games this year, so maybe that will be him like skipping around, going, "I'm going to." Fair to say, I've looked at pictures of Antequera's ground. It does not look quite as magical as Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. But
to be fair, Matt, we need you to go so we can see the goals.
Yeah.
From what we see from FBF TV,
If you can video it for us, Matt, I think that'd be perfect.
God, yeah, that's a good point. Anyway, like I said, we can perhaps talk about that again. Just a couple of other quick things to mention. I said before we press record tonight, there's another Ricardo Horta story where FIFA have said we're going to get this 6 million. I said to the lads, do we really need to talk about this story in depth? I feel like I've said this story for about 6 months now, and I say the same thing every time. So, Chris, is there anything different to say this time?
No, you already said it. So I think mentioning was enough.
Okay. There you go. So apparently Malaga are going to be rich soon, and but we'll probably mention it again in December when we've still not got the money. But it sounds like it's getting somewhere very, very slowly. And then just quickly, we talked about the Kings League. Malaga's got another event coming to town. We are hosting the Women's Nation League game between Spain and Sweden, I think in the first week of December at La Rosaleda. I guess, this can only be good for Malaga. I know we've talked about not owning the stadium, but certainly the city getting these events, especially ahead of, trying to get a place at World Cup 2030. Again, it's nice to have a team in town like the Spanish national women's national team that doesn't have any controversy around it, like Malaga. So it'd be nice to have nothing to talk about there. Yes,
I think it's good for all the girls in Malaga and in the province of Malaga. They can see the Spanish team, the world champions.
Yeah,
Malaga.
People forget at the minute they're the world champions, aren't they? So
yeah, one of the best teams as well, aren't they? So yeah, it'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to see what sort of crowd that gets. I think
I think I might be going.
To be honest with you, I think that is in the Puente week. I think there's like a national holiday again then. So, we love a national
another one.
Yeah, just
another one.
I think it's that weekend. I don't know if it's on the Saturday or Sunday. I've not got my calendar in front of me, but yeah, I might go as well if I'm not gallivanting elsewhere. And then just quickly, I thought I'd put this in. Initially, I put this in as we represent Spain on this podcast, I guess, as supporting a Spanish football team. So I thought I should mention that Spain have qualified for the Euros. That is great news, but I thought we'd just use it as an excuse to say well done to Nick Bell, because Scotland have qualified as well and are currently ahead of them. So well done.
And England qualified as well.
Sorry. Well, we didn't mention that.
England qualified as well.
Wait, we don't need to talk about England.
Yeah.
Scotland now qualified. They are second in the group at the minute because Spain have got a far superior goal difference. I think they scored 16 goals, which I think that 7-1 win away in Georgia really helped.
But goal difference doesn't matter, though. It's head-to-head. And
the head-to-head, I don't know, maybe they've got us
maybe because Scotland beat them 1-0.
Yeah, maybe that's it then. I thought that might have been the case, but it doesn't matter. We're going to Germany. That's fine. The first team to qualify, alongside France as well. So happy days. And,
congratulations.
Cheers,
England's going as well.
but no one cares.
Everybody cares. Nobody cares about Scotland.
But when Wales and Scotland qualify for it, and that's the way to go. No, to be fair, I do tell a lie. I watched a bit of the England game last night, and Jude Bellingham just looks terrifying. I would not want to be in any team going up against Jude Bellingham. Jude
Bellingham's played 13 games this season and got man at match 9 times.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Probably the biggest club in the world.
And like I said, obviously Spain, Chris, they're going there. The Netherlands, I'm not too sure just yet. I think they qualify if they beat the Republic of Ireland next time out. And obviously Wales, Matt. What a result against Croatia as well.
And that's how I knew all about the head-to-head thing, because we're actually ahead of Croatia on head-to-head now. So if we finish on the same points as them, we go through. So yes, we pulled it out of the bag with some pretty amazing performance. Actually, it sort of came from nowhere. So hopefully that's helping us. But I was going to talk about Spain's prospects, but we've run over a bit. But we've talked about international football. Let's talk about some more international football, because Malaga played a team from Africa this week. So let's go and talk about that game. And of course, the team aren't from Africa before we get complaints. They are from Spain. It's a Spanish enclave in North Africa. That team being Melilla, thanks to Gerard Piqué's football circus. We did play midday on a Thursday afternoon, which we talked about on the podcast. Obviously, it's a horrible thing, the way they mess the fixtures around, especially for people that had flights and stuff booked and things like that, even for the folk from Melilla. But on a sort of selfish personal level, it was quite novel and fun going to a
people who have to work.
Yeah,
because there are also people who work.
Apologies, Chris. But I what I was going to say, the novelty was quite fun, weirdly. I'm not saying it should happen all the time, of course, but yeah, there was the biggest crowd of the season there, 24,292, I think. I can't remember if it's 92, but fans on Thursday. So again, an epic effort from Malaguistas. And I guess if we're going to talk about an effort, a pretty good effort from the team on the pitch, but sort of an effort which almost, flustered in the second half. So I think this review of the game is very much going to be in two halves. So let's start with the starting 11. We've already mentioned that Juande came in for Einar. And then the rest of the team was a bit odd. I guess the other one was Dione coming back in, which, wasn't odd. But then there's Lorenz starting up front, which I think is his first start up front for quite a long time. And then the centre midfield partnership of Manu Molina and Juanpe. So before we perhaps talk about their, individual performances, Luke, what did you make of this lineup when you saw it?
I'll be honest, when I saw it, I was quite surprised. It definitely didn't excite me. Lawrence Zuniga starting took us all by surprise, I think. But I also don't know what Manu Molina did to deserve his chance after the Huelva game. He did actually have a great recall after his goal.
Yeah.
The centre-half situation regarding Juande, I think that was just the general rotation, what we've mentioned before.
Yeah. I will say, outside fake Barcelona Madrid, none of us were particularly enthused by this starting 11. What about you, Nick?
I think it was more necessary than it was wanted, if that's a saying we should say. You got to remember we played on, late on the Sunday against Huelva, and it's a quick turnaround to dinner time on a Thursday when you're a professional footballer, and that wasn't an easy game against Huelva either, as we know. So I think a few of these changes just had to happen. He had to give the likes of Roberto and Sangali a bit of a rest, and maybe like we saw, bring them on in the second half when we can use them effectively. The bonus that is now they've had 10 days off, so much time to recover, but then a few of them have got injured in training, so it's neither here or there. But yeah, not good to look at, but I understand why Pace had to do it.
Yeah, fair enough. Would you go along with that diagnosis, Chris?
Yes. The one thing I made out of it now is that Manu Molina is a Manolo Gasparish signing.
Okay.
Which I still don't get. it's a desperate signing at the end of the transfer market to, I don't know, pleasure the fans. But it's not working. It's a Gasparish thing.
A Gasparian transfer. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. I'm not totally against Manu Molina yet. I think I've seen little bits, but yeah, he does not excite me either. So
I think he excites his cameraman. I think he's got his personal cameraman.
Yeah, go on.
I've seen a lot of photos of Manu Molina about.
Oh yeah, he's like front and center, isn't he? He's definitely got his own personal photographer pitch side taking photos of him. But I completely agree with Chris on this. It's like he was hoisted as a transfer opportunity that arose, and it kind of feels like, when people say that digital money is an opportunity, Bitcoin and NFTs are an opportunity, and eventually they just turn to shit. This feels very Bitcoin signing is Manu Molina. It's just
I have to go against that, because Bitcoin is a thing. You just know how to when to buy it and when to sell it.
I've got no idea on digital currencies at all. I just know a lot of people lost a lot of money, and I
know people who earn a lot of money.
So it's, for me, Manu Molina's just hasn't done anything yet. Do you know what I mean? Like, did nothing against Huelva, done nothing against Melilla. Does he start against his team from the Basque Country and maybe put some performance in? I don't know. But
yeah, I think that's going to be his next game starting anyway.
It's an Arvin Appia thing, or we had many of those transfers, didn't we?
Lumar,
that's another one.
Yeah. Buena Casa was the original one on this. Yes, we like Buena Casa quite a lot. We used to talk about his stint at Juventus a lot, I remember. Anyway, let's go into the game then, because despite this sort of quite unorthodox team, I thought Malaga started really well, Leek.
I honestly thought we started fantastically. A good pace, a good press. We had the Pele press, as we call it, and we were creating several chances. Obviously, we'll go into the game a bit later on. I saw, but I thought we could have been 2 or 3-0 up early doors. The Melilla goalkeeper, I thought he made some great saves, keeping him in the game.
Yeah, it was that one. I only watched the highlights back yesterday, and the one where Kevin shot left-footed across goal. I think he gets a little touch on that, and I thought that was just he just dragged it slightly wide. I was like, what a save that was! And some of his saves are a bit, I don't know, sort of just throwing his arms up, and he want him to.
The goalie kept him in the game very much.
He did, which were quite strange, because after 5 minutes, I were at work, we'll call it, and I was making a couple of little notes, and he just looked such an unconventional goalkeeper. He looked like an old Pro Evolution goalkeeper made up kind of thing, and then he just turned out to be insane.
Yeah, he looked a bit like he was glitching as well, but in a cheat glitch. When I watched the highlights back, I'd sort of, again, I think we talked about in our WhatsApp group, this game was 6 days ago now. It was quite hard to remember some of it, but I forgot how fun that first half was, actually, because they had a good chance as well, which they didn't take, or half chance, but we really went at them, didn't we, Nick?
Was it our best half of the season?
I think in regards of attacking and just I'd probably go along with that, actually.
I can agree, but I mean these weren't up to much, was they?
Yeah, that's well.
You can only play who's in front of you. Basically,
I wouldn't say they weren't up to much.
Well,
until the second half.
We'll talk about the second half. What did you make of it, Nick?
Well, I'll be honest, I've only kind of watched the highlights back properly earlier, and I listened to it in the car with the Spanish commentary. No, I don't speak Spanish, so I was kind of just going off the vibe. It was displayed a little bit on my phone, because obviously it plays the video still, but I couldn't watch it and drive, which, don't do that if you are listening.
Great, Nick. Great.
So I was just listening to the Spanish commentary, and just when you were going Kevin, I was going, we must be doing well. So It sounded a lot more exciting in the first half than it did in the second half. A lot more downbeat in the second half from what I was interpreting. And then when you see the highlights back, the fact that there's 3.5 minutes of highlights and 3 minutes is the first half and 30 seconds is the second half says its own story.
I think we need to start a campaign down in the Costa del Sol, and it's not don't drink and drive, it's don't Dione and drive. And
and don't drink and drive, and don't watch videos and drive.
Well, that's
Exactly. So I was literally sat in traffic at the M6 when a guy came alongside me, and I was listening to it quite loud as well. And he pulled alongside it. It was just the most Spanish commentary you could hear. He just craned his head and went like that, as if to see a Spanish person sat opposite him. And it was me going,
get down.
Is this good? I don't know what's happening.
I've mentioned Dione's name there. I mentioned him in my little intro rap that he did become the top goal scorer in the history of this league. Again, I'm sure I've said that before, but I keep reading it, so I must have misread it before. I will say I know we've had a few pops at Loren. I thought he did quite well in the build up to the goal to get a shot off and spin his defender. Then Kevin had a goal, it looked like it was going in, and another great save from their goalie to tip onto the post. And then Dione bundled in. Is there anything else to say about this goal? It was.
Yes. Can we say?
I think it could be summed up as a pinball goal.
Yeah. That was one thing I was going to say. A pinball goal.
Okay.
Was this the highlight we have been waiting for of Lauren?
No.
Since
the touch.
Was this his best moment as a Malaga player?
No.
He
was
the ball out of the sky.
The ball from the sky.
Like Icarus, he flew so close to the sun and he plucked
because
it.
I am surprised how positive you are a teacher, how positive you are about Lauren when you praise him.
I don't.
Yes, you praised him for what he did.
Well, for this goal. Yeah. Huh? The ball was put across the box. He spun his defender, got a shot off. It was a good save. Don't know what else to say. I don't know what he did wrong there.
To be fair, it was at this point that we were talking about the glitchy goalkeeper. Do you know those goalkeeping machine robots that like dive? This is what the keeper reminded me of. He just was like going all over the place.
You know the goalkeepers at Paris that turn.
Yeah.
That turn 360. I don't know what you call it.
So
he was like that. He was insane. He was like Octopus Man.
What did Lauren do wrong in the build-up to this goal? I'm confused.
It's not that he does something wrong, but just you shouldn't appraise him for having a shot.
It's the touch, though, Chris.
I mean,
we remember the touch.
He's one of the best paid players for Malaga of Malaga.
No, I think he's.
And you are praising him for a shot.
I've actually just ordered the Lauren Zuniga DVD of The Touch. And I personally cannot wait to just watch it and replay it.
Yeah.
That is a sign of Yorkshire that he's still buying DVDs.
It's a tape. It's a tape.
I'm gonna burn it on my PC as well.
It's my VCR.
Yeah. Can you make a copy for me?
Yeah, I'll send it over.
Now that's what I call Lauren Zuniga 1.
But let's be honest, I think it that moment holds more. I don't know. It's more magical than Alex being a Yeovil fan is all his life.
Yeah, when we did that, the first fanzine, it's mad that I didn't go back and write something about that Lauren Zuniga touch. Might have to write a whole article about it maybe another time. I don't know then, guys, since I don't know as much to say about the goal, apart from the goalie just trying to keep them in it by himself. But I'll go to you first then, Luke. We brought him up. How do you think Lauren did on his first start of the season, I think?
He worked, which were nice to see, because when he's been coming on, I know it's only been 10, 15 minutes, but I don't think he's done anything. He don't really look bothered. This time, it did look like he put a shift in, but he just didn't really add anything else to the team. I don't think in terms of his play.
No, yeah, I'd agree exactly. You could see he was running about. He was sort of, I don't know if Pellicer told him you need to be like, wonder kid Roberto, but it wasn't quite the same. Same for you, Nick, or did you spot anything?
No, like you say, it was nice to see him actually running around, because it's been, a bit of a criticism the last couple of games that he's come on, and when we need him to be fresh-legged and, and embrace the pay press, he just
more than a
doing
season.
it. Yeah. So it's nice to see him actually running around.
So yeah, I should have said, Nick, did you hear anything good about him on the Spanish radio? I forgot that you didn't.
Oh no, his name didn't come up once.
I will say as well, in La Rosaleda, when his number went up, there was quite a lot of whistling of him, and I don't know if that was aimed directly at him or more at we want Roberto, because when Roberto came on, the place went mad again. Roberto has just become this sort of cult.
But to be fair, Lauren could be getting all the same plaudits that Roberto could be getting if he applied himself in the same way. Yeah. There's nothing on paper or from what we've seen previously before this year that would suggest that Roberto is a much higher caliber player than Lauren. If anything, they went toe-to-toe for years at Malagueño. So he's only got to look at what he could be. And, if he decides to put his aptitude to it.
I hear Luke say, like, it's good to see that he works and he works hard. And, yeah, beautiful. But if your postman works hard but delivers your post every day to the neighbor, and he does that with every house, then he's not very good at his work, is he?
Have you been reading the Mario Balotelli book of philosophy, Chris?
No. Why?
Because that's one of his famous sayings. Because when they asked him, they asked him about, like, why doesn't he celebrate goals, and he said something like, "Well, when the postman delivers a letter, does he celebrate a goal? Celebrate delivering the letter."
So who knew that? Who knew that Chris Marquez is a secret Mario Balotelli?
Well, who knew there was? If there is one player I hate in football since the start, it's Mario Balotelli.
Okay.
Chris has sat there in his "Why Always Me" t-shirt.
Do you remember? Do you guys know that video of Mario Balotelli trying to put the
bib on? Put the bib.
Yeah, and he can't even do that.
Anyway, moving away from Mario Balotelli. Since I was going to ask you, Nick, but maybe I'll come to you for other stuff. What went wrong in the second half then, Luke? Because as we said, first half was great, and Chris asked the question: was that one of our best first halves? Quite possibly, I think. The second half was a bit of a nightmare.
Yeah, I think it was just a very lazy performance, as if like maybe we dropped to Melilla's level, and also maybe a bit of these aren't very good, job done kind of thing, which is very disrespectful for a team. And as fans, I mean, I'm sure you guys in the ground expected it a lot more. I fully expected Malaga to get 2, 3, maybe a fourth goal.
Yeah.
But yeah, to sum it up, it was just a very, very lazy, dull second half.
I saw the headline in Malaga Hoy the next day, and I thought it summed it up very nicely, where it just said, sufrimiento innecesario, and unnecessary suffering. And I thought, there was.
The thing is, if you play like this the whole season, it will cost you points.
Absolutely. I agree.
Yeah, 100%.
And we
are getting lucky.
Yeah, we are. I think we've been I feel we've been a little bit too negative on some recent performances. I think we've held on, but like we've looked in control, whereas this game we just seem to be losing control the more the half went on. And obviously they scored at the end, and from what I've seen, it was rightly offside. But
yeah, definitely.
But you don't have VAR in this category.
And if that linesman didn't put his flag up, that's a massive 2 points lost.
Let's also say it's not Primera División for the linesmen or the referees either.
True. Good point. I will say obviously this was on a Thursday. And so I didn't really go anywhere this weekend. I just stayed in Marbella and watched quite a lot of Premier League football in the bars. And I was thinking to myself, I do bloody love this league without VAR. I've always been quite defensive of VAR and said, oh, if you could play about with it, I think it could work. But I'm starting to turn against it now after going to these games recently. It was so nice just to look over and see the flag and go, all right, yeah, he's offside. Yeah. It doesn't matter. There's no check.
Do you guys remember that Thierry Henry goal for France?
Of course,
yeah. The handball, yeah.
The handball.
Ireland knocked out.
That moment in football, or Maradona with the touch of God, or the nonsense we call it, which is just a normal handball as well.
To be
those
fair,
moments.
Unai Simon going into hospital after the Scotland-Spain game after he was judged to have been assaulted in the build-up to Scott McTominay's worldie. You know what I mean? You've got to have these systems in place now just to protect the players more than anything.
No, but those moments, if they come against you, I mean, they hurt football a lot because the Thierry Henry goal, I mean, it's ugly.
Yeah,
of course. Yeah.
And that goal stands. Malaga and Dortmund, with VAR, Malaga would have gone through to the next round.
I mean, going back with
so what
VAR,
you're saying, Chris, is replay now. Replay.
No, but those are moments.
Someone else.
Those are moments in football which just suck if they come against you. And I think for VAR, those moments, you need VAR.
Yeah. It obviously wasn't as severe, but maybe in Segunda, we might have actually even had a penalty in first half, right on the end of half time. VAR could look to that when Juanpe, I think it was. It was hard to see because there wasn't too much of a replay on it, but it looked like he definitely dragged his back foot back. Yeah, 2-0 up at half time. That game was done, but we just brought unnecessary pressure onto ourselves again.
Yeah, it was interesting as well because I think forgive me, I can't remember all the substitutions we made, but I remember thinking, "Oh, that's a good sub. That's a good sub," and being quite positive about it. But it just didn't seem to click.
Maybe it could also be because we played 2 matches in 4 days. I don't know.
Could be, yeah. So I don't know. Nick, did you hear anything else about the second half on your radio stream?
The one word that kept popping up a lot was lento or something like that, which I interpret to mean like tired or sluggish or lazy.
Lento,
slow. Yeah. So that was the one that was said a lot. But like you could say from listening to it, and it's the first time I've listened to the Spanish commentary this season because we usually offer our own English alternative commentary. The animation that you had in the first half compared to second half was completely opposite. Even from the outset as well, it wasn't even like it got dour towards the 70th, 80th minute. From about the 49th, 50th minute, you could tell that the commentators were getting a bit bored. Is probably the word I would use. And there's nothing more entertaining than a bored Spaniard.
But equally, you've just sort of sold that commentary because look, you're learning Spanish. You're picking up vocabulary.
I did. It kind of felt quite nice to embrace it as well. So, but yeah, doesn't necessarily tell me how to order a table or get food, but I can now shout lento.
I wouldn't do that in a restaurant, though.
No, I'll try not to.
If there's a waiter of a certain name, you could go Kevin. Kevin.
Kevin.
Let's. I don't know. Has anyone got anything else to add before we go into Chumbo and Biznaga? I think we've covered the main points. There's nothing really.
No more 12 o'clock games on Thursday, please, because it really gets in the middle of the week.
To be I did when I said it was a novelty, that I do want it to remain a novelty. I meant it was I think it was just quite fun when I was sitting there in fake Barcelona, Madrid at 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock was 10 o'clock with a bottle of Victoria. And it was quite interesting because it was very, very quiet around the stadium before. And then everyone just seemed to appear on 20 minutes for kickoff. So I guess everyone just got out of bed that lived locally and just walked to the ground.
What time did the Geary bus get there, Matt?
They got there, I think, about 11:15. And we were joined by Christian Makowski and his German friends, who were good fun. That was a nice surprise guest appearance.
Wait, what I do need to know, was the flag there?
What do you mean? In like it wasn't up
the shit but local flag. Did it make an appearance?
Oh, was this that game? Was this that one?
Oh my god! I don't know. I didn't meet the guy either because I thought I'd meet the guy. I met a lot of interesting characters this time. It was, there you go. There's a good plug for Vamos a la Rosaleda. I met another big Chris Marquez fan who I used to live in the same tower.
Was he a Chris Marquez fan? Yeah, he called me like a Spice Girl, right?
Yeah. But he asked where you were, and I was like, oh, yeah. Well, is Matt Harrison not enough for you? But no, he wanted.
No, because that's what always happens.
No, he's all about the market.
You know what happened to me yesterday?
I don't.
No, I will tell you. I was sitting here.
This could be anything.
You guys shut up. I was sitting here in my beautiful village for a drink with Dutch people, and they say, "Oh well, friends of my mom who live here as well in Arroyo." And they were saying, "Oh well, so what do you do?" And talked about work, and then I said, "Yeah, a podcast." And they said, "Oh, nice." And a few minutes later, the waiter comes, and he looks at me. He says, "Are you the one of the Geary cast?"
Okay. Celebrity. Celebrity. And you ate for free?
I said, yes. And he said, "Oh, I love that. I always watch it on my telephone. Oh, awesome. This." I was like, okay.
That's cool.
Now that's strange. I can tell you that's really strange.
Hello to the waiter that served
Yes, but I loved it. Yes, because you might be watching again. Yes,
Give
and we are
free food. Chris wants free food.
Yeah. Never happens in Doncaster, does it, Luke? Doesn't happen in Blackpool.
I expected a free beer, but I can understand. Maybe next time. I mean, I walk through your street every day. Stop me and say, "I watched," and here's your. No, you don't need to give free beer.
Yeah. Anyways, you're our Biznaga on the podcast, Chris. But let's go on to the Malaga Jumbo and Biznagas for this game. Let's start with Jumbo.
Can I say one more thing?
Okay, go for it.
It was at the Lilac Tree. If you're ever in Benalmádena Pueblo, it's a nice place. It has a beautiful terrace. It has a nice fountain. It's so romantic, Nick. You should go there once. I will take you. I'll take you. But I'm not paying.
Is Luke not romantic enough?
Yeah, I'm gonna say, did nothing romantic happen in the Pueblo for me?
Yes, but it's also a romantic place, a romantic spot. I'm sure everybody will love it. You will love it. Laura will love it. We go there for dinner once. It's called the Lilac Tree. If you're ever in Benalmádena Pueblo, go eat
Chris,
there.
now you've just said that this guy watches us. I guarantee we will all gradually be going there and try and get some free food.
So
what this is actually an advert.
Yeah, and we
podcast.
Marquez has been given a bit of money, hasn't he?
Exactly.
Marquez
No.
In
his back pocket now.
But you always talk about the certain beer from Malaga, and I thought, wow, it's nice to also give some effort about this restaurant, because he actually watches us and he follows us.
Yeah, it did feel a little bit like Alan Partridge when he forgets to plug Terry's chocolate orange and interrupts him. By the way, Terry's chocolate oranges are available from Rawson's. Anyway, Jumbo. I'll go to you first, Nick. What did, from the vibe of the radio and the highlights you watched, who's your Jumbo?
I genuinely couldn't tell you because if I was going to go with anything from the vibe I've got, and from what I've seen, I'm just going to go Manu Melilla.
Okay.
There we go. I'm just going to throw it out there.
Okay, and then maybe I'll come back to you if you sort of get different vibes from people's answers, or you just want to steal other people's answers. Luke, I'll go to you next. Who is your chumbo?
Well, I've actually throughout this podcast, I've actually changed my original chumbo, and then looking back at the lineup, I hope it's not too controversial, and it's only because I think he's so good and not performing in this game. But it's David La Rubia for me. I just think he had a very, very quiet game for a player of his standard.
I thought you were going to say.
What were you doing?
I thought he was going to say the other winger, which
no. Actually, Matt, we never plugged it early, but on my notes at one point, in the first half, I have got written down Kevin Maradina. I thought he would up to his tricks. He were very, very tricky.
I thought you were going to say Kevin, marry me.
Yeah, well,
that's what it sounded like. But then again, you are from a part of England where it seems that even English people don't understand you.
Behave.
Yeah, but I have one question for Luke, because you're from the same area as Carl, right?
Yeah.
Why do I understand Carl when he talks, and why can't I just don't understand you?
I think I've watched Kez a few more times than Carl. It must just be that.
And Carl's is a sort of
more Sheffield Carl, I think.
Salesy person, deals with people. Not I'm saying
I work in a factory.
Yeah.
Does Laura talk the same like you?
No. Matt's met Laura plenty of times.
No,
does she
Laura soon?
Do you understand Laura, Matt?
Yeah. I understand Luke. I can deal. I can.
Yeah, your English teacher.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. I forgot I was going to say. I was going to say nice things about Kevin, but I'll do that in a bit. My chumbo, by the way, and I don't think we've said his name, but I saw one of the papers give him quite a good mark. So I don't know if it was the early morning Victorias that got me. I didn't think Juanpe was very good. He kept giving the ball away a lot in the first half. But I saw the sort of, I can't remember, it might have been Eldez Marque. They were giving him higher marks than Molina, so I don't know. But I thought Juanpe wasn't very good. I
think that one of the problems in the second half, Matt. Our centre midfielders wasn't keeping the ball at all.
Yeah.
We weren't building anything.
Yeah, and then we took them both off, and that seemed to make things worse, weirdly.
Oh, yeah.
Which was interesting. Chris, anyone different?
Yes, and it might sound weird and a bit strange.
Trust me, Chris, we're past that with you.
But because this guy had a great pass and a great action towards the goal with a great shot, for me, Lauren is not a football player, and every time he plays, he will get my he gets my chumbo.
Okay,
that is who I picked originally, but then I just thought full work rate, maybe just give him a little boost.
Yeah, no boost.
He was on my list as well, to be honest with you, because he's, we're sort of going for those top spots. We need people doing a bit more up top.
Yeah.
He's not good enough at the moment. I've not seen anything.
He's never been good enough, and it surprises me because somehow Real Madrid wanted to sign him.
Yeah,
and he played for the Spain. I don't know, sub-18 or I don't know which team he played.
I can't remember which one, but
he also played there.
Okay. Let's go on to Biznagas then. I'll come to you last this time, Nick, so you can perhaps think about the vibes before I spring it on you. I'll go first for this one because there's just only one person for me. I thought
Kevin.
No, he would have been an honourable shout out. His left foot seems to have got quite good very suddenly. I don't think he was magnificent in this game. I thought he was good. But I thought Jokin Gabilondo was just fantastic, like absolutely, like spectacularly good at times. The bit when he ran down the wing and the ball was bouncing and he backheeled it past to our midfield. I don't think he put a foot wrong. I honestly think it's one of the best individual performances we've had this season. I think he was that good. He did not do anything wrong. He was like perfect. So if I was doing the ratings this week, I would have given him a 9. I think he was that good, which isn't perfect actually, but So
Did anyone do the raid?
No, everyone were at work. We'll call it that.
Yeah. And I was. I should tell you who I should have got. I spent the day with our friend Joe Faint and should have got him to do it. But he consumed alcohol with me all day, so I don't know. Don't know how he was after. We ended up in the Vermouth place as well. The what's it, Casa Antigua. So yeah,
the first stop of our Curicast meet.
Yes, it was the last. Oh no, it was the one but last stop on our afternoon out in Malaga. We ended up in the Cruz Campo brewery as well, which I know people go, "Ooh, Cruz Campo," but the La Fabrica is cool. Anyway, that's for another story. Luke, anyone different?
Nah, 100% agree. I thought Gabilondo he played brilliant. One thing, what I know, Nick Cray, also a big fan of Delmas last year, very attacking fullback. I think the first few games of this season, Jokin sent more defensive, but in the last 4 or 5 games, I think he's really coming into his own with the additional attacking threat as well.
Yeah, this game in particular, he seemed to find another sort of level of attacking.
Yeah.
I thought he was excellent. And actually, going back to our mate Kevin, Kevin ended up on the right at one point, and they seemed to link up quite nicely. I noticed he didn't stay there, but I think he played for 10 minutes, and they looked like quite a good little partnership. But yeah. Anyway,
I thought in the first half Kevin was very much in the mood for it. Then in the second half, he went back to what I know Chris isn't a fan of. Just a bit, but a lot of Malaga players do it. Just seemed to slow play down a little bit too much. In the first half, they were very direct.
Yeah. Just quickly on Kevin, I forgot to say when we're talking about the Dione goal, Kevin did his thing where you talk about Melilla having his own photographer, where Kevin's got to be in the celebration photo, and he did try to jump on Dione's back and do that celebration he does all the time, and Dione just fell over, couldn't be bothered to hold him.
Dione after the Bocadilla.
Yeah,
he did have a picture taken by who I assume is his personal photographer. That was him walking away towards the corner, something like that. And I put it in a little picture frame of the Mona Lisa in the Louvre and just put it in Spanish, hanging in the Louvre, and he liked it. I was like, Kevin, he loves it. He definitely searches his own name.
Oh, absolutely.
Kevin is the guy. Kevin is Kevin's biggest fan.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
No, Matt is
somebody else.
Kevin is Kevin's biggest fan.
No. Kevin is even bigger fan of Kevin than Matt. Matt is a good second one, but Kevin is Kevin's biggest fan.
Possibly. I know what you mean there. But that's why I like him. Chris, let's get these biznagas done. Anyone different?
No.
I can't see how it can be, personally. No. Okay.
Yeah.
Jokin, triple. Did you hear his name in amongst the radio noises, Nick?
I didn't, but I saw your compliments about him in the first half on our WhatsApp group, so I assumed he must be doing something quite positive. Going into it the way it was, because the only mention I actually heard was Kevin. I was thinking, could he be my biznaga? But sounds like you've convinced me that Jokin is worthy of this accolade this week, so I'll go with Jokin Gabilondo as well.
Yeah, it's worth it. We talked about the Loren touch, I think we've talked about it about 15 times on 2 different podcasts now, but his little back heel pass, which didn't really go anywhere, but he just passed it into midfield. That was fun. So that was.
Can we have that that moment of Loren in the podcast?
Oh, we can get it.
Yeah,
we will.
How nice that we can play it every week.
Well, yeah, I was thinking
for the whole season.
Can we add it to the intro? Can it be 30 seconds of Loren's touch?
No, we have to do more videos. We have to put in more videos.
Yeah, and definitely, I have started thinking about what to put in the latest Malaga Gaga, our fanzine.
Yeah.
If people haven't checked it out, go and find it on our Twitter somewhere. We did one last month, and maybe
I love it. I've read it 4 times already, and I'm still reading it. I don't know why. Because I'm proud of it. And I didn't even do shit on it. So
Jokin's back heel might feature. I'd probably have to find a video of it again just to remind me exactly what he did. And if he did it, because maybe I didn't see it properly. But anyway, that's enough of Melilla. As I said in the intro, see ya, Melilla, because we're going to play Castilla. As a great band from Cowbridge, South Wales once said, let's go see Raoul, let's make a stand, let's go see Raoul. Now, that might be a bit of a deep dive for people that aren't into Welsh indie of the mid-2000s. That's the Automatic, by the way, which they did a song called Raoul, which I don't think was about the great Spanish striker, but we will be up against him. Well, he'll be on the touchline. We are playing Real Madrid Castilla. I never really sure. Do you just call him Castilla? Or do we call him Real Madrid Castilla? I've seen both used.
Real Madrid Castilla.
So apologies, because I'm sure there's lots of their fans listening to this preview.
Yes.
Yeah, it's I guess like their record so far, they're sort of, I think they're top of the bottom half of the league. So, you know, as far as a youth team goes, you know, we won't have the B team debate. I think we've done that to death on this podcast. We don't like them. They're doing okay, actually, considering as well. I think they got promoted last year from the league below. They won their last game against Atletico Sanluqueño 1-0 with, I think they had 10 men, I read as well. And then they've lost to the big boys the game before, Castilla. Should we just talk a bit about Raoul? That's the fun bit, isn't it? Anybody got any love for Raoul?
Well, I think we all got a bit of love for him. If you watched Spanish football in a certain period of time, you'll be a big fan of him. I kind of just wish he would not be in charge of Castilla, if I'm being perfectly honest with you, because I know obviously he's in waiting for a time to take over the main side, but you know, you see so many of these managers now coming through. You know, I suppose we've all watched the video of Xabi Alonso pinging balls today on Twitter, you know, showing he can do it at a top-level club in Bundesliga. I thought Raoul maybe would have done that by now as well, considering that he retired a lot earlier than those type of players as well. So considering his football knowledge, his pedigree, his legendary status, the fact that he's only ever been in charge of Real Madrid B in the lower leagues, it is a shame. Probably the best way for me to sum it up.
Yeah, to be honest, I hadn't really thought about that. He did retire a long time ago. Now I think about it, I still, he's sort of, I think he won. I think it's like an under-19s tournament, like European tournament with Real Madrid, like under-19s. That's and like you said,
a good player doesn't make a good manager.
But I think the word is that he is a good manager, isn't it? That like it's.
But why?
Well, I don't know, because I've not watched Real Madrid Castilla, but like from what I gather from people at Real Madrid that know more about it than me, like if it wasn't for Xabi Alonso's emergence, he will be Real Madrid manager, or would have been Real Madrid manager next year when Carlo Ancelotti probably goes to Brazil. That's sort of been on the cards, and now might not be. It'll be, I don't know.
Do we think it's out to do with? I mean, I assume Raul's got a lot of ambassadorial roles with Real Madrid, so it's maybe Real Madrid and Real Madrid only, maybe something along that.
I don't know.
I'm going to be honest. He was a great footballer, but I'm not a big fan of Raul. I was as a kid, but now I think because I have nothing with Real Madrid or Barcelona or Atletico Madrid. It's just not my club. I liked him when I was a young kid, when he played for Spain, the national team. I really adored him there. I really was a big fan. But after David Villa and Fernando Torres gave Spain 3 prizes, my Raúl love is a bit gone.
It's funny you say that, because I think that is sort of something that's happened to his name in general, I think, where because he sort of famously got dropped by Aragonés before that 2008 Euros, that he's sort of seen as like, it's almost put like a failure stamp on him in a quite tragic way. And it is a bit, but it's I guess, I don't know, for me, it was funny when I put this question in there. I hadn't really thought about it myself, because I thought, this would be quite a fun thing to talk about, because we have listeners of all different ages and they'll all know Raul. But when I was thinking about what's my favorite thing about him, I was like, well, actually, if you were to tell me if I was to try and say what sort of player Raul is, it's quite hard. He's not like, he's sort of quite, he was sorry, not quite good. He was sort of very good at everything without being an absolute specialist, I would say. But in a way,
when you asked the question about, obviously I watched Raul for years and years, but I thought I need a bit of solid thing. And now we're thinking like a proper goal scorer. But when you look back, he had so much more to his game.
But he was also a very quiet player.
yes.
Does probably every one of you? I'm going to say a name of which he reminds me a lot. Jari Liedmanen.
Oh well, Jari Littmanen's one of the greatest players I've ever seen live.
Yeah, a great player.
Yes.
He's I think very different sort of player.
Yeah, different sort of player, but also a very quiet player.
Yeah, fair enough.
Once you forget about.
Yeah, true. I'd agree with that actually. But yeah, like I guess being like I was a teenager, early 2000s when, especially that 2000 Champions League, Real Madrid won, and he was amazing in that, and he was still quite young. That's I think his peak. But I'd sort of forgotten as well, and I don't know if Nick listened to it because I know we both said we like the Mundial podcast, Reasons to Love Football, and they did a whole bit about his time in Schalke a few weeks ago, and actually his time at Schalke is perhaps more fun. I think he scored like loads of good goals, and actually there's one of my favorite assists ever is a Raul goal, but set up, and I forgot the guy's first name, is Jurado, another Spaniard at Schalke. Just type into when you stop listening to this, or if you're listening, pause it. Type in Raul Jurado.
Don't pause us for Raul.
Pardon?
Don't pause us for Raul.
Yeah. Sorry, by the way, I just remembered the podcast called Reminding You Why You Love Football, but they did a really cool bit on him. I just thought I'd bring up Raul because I like him, and he was a bit of a legend.
He was a great player, but it's a bit of a boring player. Nothing really a lot has happened around him. You know, you have some players who were very good, like Jari Liedmanen, Raul, who were very good at the time, but didn't get the Ronaldo fame or the I don't know.
Yeah, okay. I know what you mean.
Fame. I don't know how to say it. Like Jari was probably the best player. Nobody understood football better than Jari Liedmanen. He was insane. He was thinking like 6 moves ahead, but never won a Ballon d'Or.
No. But yeah, but he was, like you said, quite a quiet guy. Perhaps moving on to moving away from the history of Raul, but he has been at this club a while. He's gotten promoted. It's worth looking at the players because there's some interesting surnames amongst the players too, particularly Lucas Canizares in goal, and also their midfielder Theo Zidane.
Is Canizares the son of Duino? Because I saw this straight away and it came straight to me.
Very much so. He's actually, I've forgotten as well. There was a big thing in Marca last year where he's actually won the 2022 Club World Cup because he was on the bench for Real Madrid when they won that last year. So I think there was a photo of him and his dad with his medal and stuff, which was quite
I have a question about this.
Does he have to bleach blonde hair?
I have always asked myself.
Go on.
Can you be talented in football or playing since your youth at professional clubs can make you a footballer?
Yeah, I think it's going to vary from case to case, isn't it? I think there's going to be.
Look at Jordi Cruyff. His dad was a footballer. He became a footballer. Look at Kluivert, his son.
Yeah, they I don't think they're great examples because I think they've actually had quite good careers. Obviously, their dad's careers are like super stellar careers. Especially.
But my question is like, did they go to those schools, to those academies because they had talent? Or is it because of their dads being the kids off? And then, did they have talent enough to make it through the first teams or through the academy themselves? Or is that also based on their dad's name?
I think football would be too ruthless now. Just to, I agree. Like, there's probably, if their dad plays for, you know, let's take the Cruyff one. I'm sure Jordi got a boost into the youth teams from there, but football's too cutthroat to get a good career without being good. You know, Justin Kluivert, you just said, you know, he has played for Roma. He's playing in the Premier League now. He's had a good career. I know it's not maybe what people expected, or maybe not as good as his dad, but, you know, he can't be crap, can he, to play?
They never are as good as their dads either. Another one you could say is, and again, I don't really know how it works, but Romeo Beckham, you know, we've all watched that documentary recently. He's a professional footballer, apparently, but he only plays for Brentford B team. But it never looks like he's getting in. He's on loan from him. I mean, it seems messy, but you know, I think it helps, because I think part of it is that, you know, these kids tend to go to the clubs where the dads play for, because obviously they've got to be with the parents. So it makes a lot of sense. Whether it's Cristiano Ronaldo's playing around with him as well, hasn't he? So,
like,
you know,
which manager of I don't know, 5-year-olds or 6-year-olds is going to say, that Beckham kid, he's not good enough. Nobody's going to say that.
No,
Kai Rooney scores 50 goals a season for whatever age he's at, so, you know, they've got to have something about them as well.
Yeah,
I think
just quickly then, because I was leading towards this before that quite grander question, but apparently Santiago Canizares published a book in 2015, and it's called "Dad, When I Grow Up, I Want to Be a Soccer Player," and it's all about giving parents advice on guiding their children if their dreams to be professional athletes, actually, not just footballers, which be interesting to see what his takes are. Yeah.
Well, I think of the two you've mentioned, obviously, with Canizares and Zidane, they've got the more famous fathers, but one of the players who's also got a footballer father in this squad is much more of a talent coming through, and that's Nico Paz. His dad is also an ex-Argentine international, but obviously never played for Real Madrid. So you see those kind of relationships there, but he looks like, you know, if he's playing, going to be a very much a handful. I think he's scoring for fun in this league. I mean, I think he's got something like 5 and 6 or something like that. So,
and his dad certainly wasn't a very flash player. His dad, I seem to remember, being a bit brutal, but sort of from what I remember,
must have something about him though to be named in the squad for Qatar as well, for Argentina. Do you know what I mean? Like.
The other name to perhaps mention, because I know Teo Zidane is the vice captain, but I don't know, you know, I don't know how good he is. He seems to have been in this team for a while. Not like Luka. I feel like I've seen Luka Zidane play about 10 times for 10 different clubs since I've been living in Spain. But the other name I was going to mention, because Marca did a big thing about him. It might have even been the start of this season, but time's a bit messed up for me now. Maybe it was the start of last year. They did an article called El Otro Vinicius, and the other Vinicius, and
they've got that.
Vinicius Tobias, I think his surname is.
Yeah.
But the Guardian had him in like their next generation thing, and he was playing for Shakhtar Donetsk, and obviously there's the clause at the moment that if you're a foreign player, you can leave on loan to wherever. So Real Madrid have got him on loan from Shakhtar, which is.
I've got two players down, Matt. One of them is Vinicius Tobias, a right back on loan from Shakhtar Donetsk, Brazilian. So you imagine Brazilian right back is going to be thinking one way, very forward thinking. The other player I've got written down is Alvaro Rodriguez.
Okay.
So he's a centre forward. He's made 6 appearances for Real Madrid first team from February last season. And if I know, like Paul Henahan, big La Liga fan, etc., he actually scored the equaliser in the Madrid derby against Atletico last season.
Yes.
Let's not forget that we also got Fransol on loan from Shakhtar, or what's another team?
Kiev.
Kiev.
Oh, Kiev. Well, we also.
But I think the difference is Fransol was not considered in like the 100 best young players in the world before going to Ukraine. That's not me saying Vinicius Tobias.
Maybe once upon a time, Fransol was the boy.
Yeah. No, but it really says nothing, because if he was such a good player, let's be honest, he wouldn't go to Real Madrid B on loan.
But no, I
But
think
is it one of those where he's young and Real Madrid have interest in him, but not
Yeah.
quite ready for that level yet?
yeah.
I mean, Real Madrid also wanted to sign Lorenz Zuniga
Shame on them for missing out
this
on
summer.
that guy.
Yeah.
So,
But it's not unknown for
Kinda watch for
again,
the
all
touch.
these little relations that we're talking about is that he goes to the same club that his brother plays for. Because I think Mbappe's brother also plays for PSG as well, doesn't he? So again, it's another one of those where, we just get family into thing. I think
Mbappe had a few family members playing football, right? Because I believe there was also an Mbappe in Holland playing.
And of course, there's Job playing for Sunderland, Job Bellingham. But he's.
I had to laugh at the guy on Twitter who said because they sent scouts to go and watch him at Sunderland, as a power move, then they should send scouts to go and watch Jude Real Madrid.
Or even Alfred Schreuder and Dick Schreuder.
Yeah.
No, exactly.
2 managers.
Yeah, indeed. Before we move away from Castilla, this very much I've had this. I've probably not got enough time to talk about it in detail, but I've had this saved up for when my other podcast, Platini Played for Kuwait, definitely does a European Cup Winners' Cup episode. Do you know the European Cup Winners' Cup link with Real Madrid B or Castilla?
Did they win it?
Well, they basically
got played there once. No, there is something.
Oh, it's a crazy story. Where I'll try and do it really quickly. They got to the Copa del Rey final. They lost to Real Madrid 6-1 in the final, but obviously that meant they got into the Cup Winners' Cup. They played West Ham in the Bernabeu. They beat West Ham. It kicked off so much with West Ham fans because obviously it was the early 80s. So for the second leg, UEFA said, well, they were going to kick West Ham out, and for some reason they didn't. And they said, okay, you're going to play it behind closed doors. And I think originally they said you're not allowed to play at Upton Park. So it was going to be played in Sunderland, in Roker Park. But then they said, no, you can play in the Berlin ground behind closed doors. So, and then eventually West Ham won, I think like 5-1 on aggregate, maybe 6-1. But yeah, so Castilla played at Upton Park in the first round of the Cup Winners' Cup in, I'm going to say 81 or 82. And they went toe to toe with West Ham, and it was actually that was the other thing. West Ham were a second division team at the time. I always thought it was one of my favorite Cup Winners' Cup stories. Because the Cup Winners' Cup mad. There's a great book on it called Frozen in Time. That's where I remember reading about that. Anyway, that's my bit of football trivia for you there.
Is there anything you don't know about football, Matt?
Yes, I couldn't tell you about how well Raul has done at Castilla or why he's a good manager.
But it's, I suppose, a big shame of it is for Castilla because we've come up against B teams before. We won't rehash this argument, but we saw some real talented footballers at like Real Sociedad B, Villarreal B, teams like that. Castilla just don't seem to have that. And when you look at other elite football clubs that have been kind of like harvesting youth talents, you look at Man City, for example, you look at Chelsea, they've got, put Chelsea and Man City in this league, they'd absolutely run riot. Whereas you'd think Madrid would have more of a established and dominant youth setup nowadays. But I suppose the Florentino Perez way of thinking to keep signing Galacticos.
But why? It's money. It's shirt sales.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, it's a shame,
because
really. That
bringing a youth player doesn't make any money.
Yeah, no, exactly. And not that I want Castilla to be amazing, but you would think, pulling on the white shirt of Real Madrid and the credences that has, even in a B team, you'd think they would have a bit more about them than this. But really, we're plucking at straws with their players. Name
the last 10 players that made their debut at Real Madrid.
What, just in general, or
Raul maybe one of
the last 10?
What do you mean, like youth players?
Youth players.
Can't be that many.
Alvaro Rodriguez probably won then.
Yeah.
No, but name 10.
Yeah, Brahim Diaz, did he not go to Castilla first?
No, but he made his debut. He wasn't in the U, he was in the City youth.
Yeah, he was.
If I remember, he made his debut with City.
He was at City when I used to go watch Man City's youth.
Yeah.
It's quite good. I love what's his name? Dennis Suarez was the Spaniard I always liked.
Dennis Suarez.
Yeah.
Mm.
Just quickly,
But
just
you can't name the 10
No,
academy
you don't.
players
There
from
won't be
Real
one.
Madrid.
no.
No, there won't be
Could be
any.
a question for the chat. That one, Chris. That's a drawn out question. We could all work on this.
Just quickly, because we seem to be quite enjoying just saying names of this team. They do have a player called Marvel as well, which I thought was fun. His name's Marvelous Antolin Garzon, but on his shirt it says Marvel. There's a shirt that should be easy to sell. There's two.
Nick is now a fan.
Yeah.
I like Peter. Peter with Peter on his back. That'll just do me. But again, he's made three appearances for the Real Madrid team, so maybe it's not as uncommon as we.
Well,
think. I've got to think maybe the big one's got maybe Odegaard has got to be one of the most recent ones.
Yeah, but Odegaard played for Heerenveen first. He made his debut for Heerenveen.
Yeah, but he must have got into Castilla because he was signed at 15 years old, so he must have got into the youth team before he went into the Real Madrid first team. So I know he's technically not there from youth.
Yeah, but he didn't make his professional debut in professional football in Madrid. He made his debut, I think, at Heerenveen.
I think there'd be quite a lot, because even like people, like there's been loads of, the Pavones era, the Zidanes Pavones era, the Galacticos. That was the whole point. It was, what's his name? Minambres, Pavon. Oh yeah, exactly. I'm going far too back here now I think about it. But Raul Bravo, there was like that 2000s bit where they were trying to buy a Galactico and saying, "Don't worry, we've got a kid coming through," and none of those kids made it. That was the whole the downfall of Zidanes y Pavones, as they call it.
Alvaro Arbeloa was technically part of Castilla, then moved away and then moved back to Real Madrid as well. So is that does that count?
No.
And Odegaard made his Real Madrid debut before he went to Heerenveen, but he'd already played for Strømsgodset in Norway before he signed for Madrid.
Yeah. We're pushed for time here. Do we want to say anything about the starting 11 of Malaga? I sort of put, do Juanpe and Melilla get dropped? I'm guessing our answer is yes there.
I don't know.
Okay. Does Melilla get dropped, considering he was a chumbo?
Absolutely.
He should get dropped, but who do you...
Yeah. Okay. Does Juanpe keep his place?
No,
but I guess the issue now is Sangali's
injury. The Sangali injury.
You need to go down a route. If it wasn't broken, don't fix it for me. And some of the better football that we played, maybe with the absence of Sangali, was when we had Dani Lorenzo, Gennaro, and David Larrubia.
But Dani Lorenzo, I don't know. He seems a bit...
I think he's been fine. I don't think he's absolutely been stellar, but I don't think he's done anything wrong.
I think he can do so much better.
Yeah. But I think
he's not bringing what I expected for him to bring this season yet.
The thing is as well, though, how we players in games like this against Castilla and that they're playing against players of similar ages and stuff. This is where they need to prove how good they are and why they're starting for a huge club like Malaga.
Yeah. Okay.
For me, this is all about points on board now because we've got a tough November coming up, and you've got to get now two massive results back to back, and then you're into difficult games. Going away to Ibiza at the 9th. That's a promotion contender there. They're unbeaten so far this season.
We can say that if you ask me, we can't say that Castilla and Ibiza are way further than we are way better than we are.
I'd agree. Right, on that note, I think that's a good place to wrap things up. So I will say a thank you to you, Luke Chambers.
Yeah, thank you as always, mate. I hope everyone has a good remainder of the week and a good 3 points on Saturday for Malaga. So vamos Malaga. Vamos
Malaga, indeed. Chris Marquez, thank you.
Thank you all.
Will I see you Saturday?
Yes, finally.
It's been a tough few weeks, Chris, but I've got it. And thank you, Nick Bell, and we hope you are feeling better soon.
Gracias, amigo. Vamos Malaga.
Vamos Malaga, indeed. And thank you to you guys, the listeners. Keep sort of retweeting and interacting with us. We like all that stuff. and we will see you again soon. Just quickly, are we doing a live stream on the weekend? I don't know. Or...
I'm not available. I don't know if Nick's good.
It might just be me, because I know that Alex is on his travels at the minute, and Luke is, don't know,
the Nick Bell
like
show.
That. So we'll see.
Yes. Okay. Well, we'll see. To TBC indeed. So anyway, thank you again for listening. I've been Matt Harrison. You've been listening to the Geary Cast on Sport Direct Radio and on the YouTube, I guess I should say.
The YouTube.
The land of the tube.
You old man.
Cheerio, vamos Malaga, adios.